I came home yesterday to a lovely surprise, an enormous box in the mail full of smaller boxes and really small products. This is a gift from the very kind folks at LB Studios, otherwise known as the MeepleLibrary. So thank you guys so much for sponsoring this video. If you don't know what LB Studios is, they run an Etsy storefront and primarily deal with very beautiful HeroQuest compatible miniatures. Get your thumb out of the camera lens, Ash. That's much appreciated. Thank you. Now, so let's dive right in. For those of you interested in what LB Studios has to offer, this is going to give us a pretty up close and personal look of all of the products on their page, and we'll be able to see them kind of in motion with the different HeroQuest edition figurines that I'll have set up on the mat behind us. 4 boxes. Which to open first? Eeny, meeny, this one. Oh no. Oh no. It's whatever this is called. Corrugate dunnage. It's alright, I know my stuff was packed very safely. Okay, I was expecting high quality miniatures, I wasn't expecting high quality packaging. That is really nice, look at that. It can hang from a pegboard in its own store physically, that is so nice. I bet these were a lot of fun to pick as well. These were the contents of box 1. The packaging is actually so nice that I'm going to feel bad opening it. This is Dungeon Scenics line bookcase number 1. It is HeroQuest compatible, 25mm and HD mini. Just by looking at it through the packaging, yeah, I agree. It's HD mini. It feels super, super solid, like the infill is just all the way. And we've got a QR code in the back you can scan to show off your game board on Facebook. So as the packaging has implied, there is more than one bookcase in this line, but this is really, really quite nice. This detailed miniature was 3D printed. It is an SLA print, so resin. There's no additional work that needs to be done to it. However, it's been cured nicely. It feels smooth and good. You don't have to do anything extra to this. It is game board ready. Although if you wanted to prime it and paint it, you could go ahead and do that. I actually really like the aesthetic of this bookshelf a lot, and it looks like it's going to fit quite comfortably on my dungeon mat, taking up 3 squares. And here it is on the old style board as well. You can see it doesn't encroach at all on the squares around it. It fits quite beautifully right where it's supposed to. It's interesting to see how they chose to do the bottom. It's almost like it was set on HeroQuest bases. Alright, I don't see bookcase number 2 or 4 in this box, so we're going to go right into bookcase number 3. This is a more conservative bookcase. There's no idol or statue in the middle, and we have one of the classic skulls resting atop, as well as, I'm not sure what that's supposed to be. This right here. Melted candle? Not sure. They pretty well match otherwise, but it is a different style, just in case you'd rather have more books and less statue. Next is bookcase number 5. This bookcase is special in that it is an opened bookcase, signifying that there was a secret door. Now it looks like there is a hinge, but in fact this is a static model. It does not move. By the way, these models are extremely sturdy. You can tell that the infill was quite thorough on them. They're not going to bend, they're not going to break. They might make pretty good weapons when one of your heroes steps out of line or tries to touch your miniatures with Cheeto fingers. If you're going to get one of these, I would get them both, because you have an open version and a shut version, essentially. Worth noting, of course, that this open section is going to take up extra tiles on your board, but that shouldn't be a problem, right, Zargon? The next thing in the box that I got were these lights, and it looks like we have a constant flickering blue light. The camera's going to pick up the light quite differently than I perceive it in real life. That is more of a Christmas blue. They're actually both blue lights. I don't think these were supposed to be used with the bookshelves. We're going to get to what they were supposed to be used with here shortly, I have a feeling. Box number 2. 4 bags make up the total contents of box number 2, and this time we have Fireplace. This is 50mm, part of the Dungeon Scenics line, and this is quite chonky in my hands. Ah, my intuition was right. We have a light included with this Fireplace, and it is meant to be used with it to illuminate the fire within. Like I said, this is a pretty thick piece, but if you look carefully, it actually fits perfectly within the 1 by 3 inch space provided on the game board, wherever you decide to put it for the contemporary board. And if you put it on the classic board, it does encroach just a little bit on the surrounding tiles, but not so much that it's unusable. In fact, Typically, you put the fireplace up against a back wall where there's no tiles behind, and I think that this is a great use for this fireplace, so it should fit greatly with your classic game as well. It is quite large and imposing, but to me, that'll just lend credibility to your grand dungeon. Alright, I heard you. You want to see what the light looks like when it's in here. Now, although there is this cutout, and on the inside there is this sort of relief for the LED structure to go into, there's nothing that'll like keep it snapped in there or anything, so you may wish to have a bit of tape. And then this is a flickering yellow LED, so we have a beautiful flickering fireplace for our dungeon. I love it. It casts a lovely glow off of the board. When your heroes discover this fireplace in any given room, they are sure to all collectively go, "Whoa!" And that's an ash guarantee. Now, the blue light LEDs are structured just a little bit differently, so they don't fit quite as snugly into the fireplace, and therefore I'm going to say they weren't designed for it, but you could definitely put them in there and have this wicked blue fireplace. Yeah, there is some dreadful magic going on here. It's worth noting once again that there is a glare, and there's just a slightly different character about the light in real life versus what you're seeing on the camera. It looks a lot cooler in real life. It's just really hard to convey with the camera. Our next sack has got a weapons rack. This is it. I like it. It is chunky, it is meaty, it is full of very nice looking weapons, and it is ready to paint up. There's a lot of structure here. There's a lot of work that went into this. This is a perfect time to compliment Andy at MeepleForge, who is credited for most of the sculpts. Andy, evidently, you do amazing work. It fits perfectly on the classic board and will no doubt have a great fit on the contemporary board as well. The reason that I do the comparisons between the contemporary and classic HeroQuest boards is because the classic board's tiles are actually not a full inch. They're much closer to 15/16ths of an inch. And while a 16th of an inch doesn't sound like very much, it simply adds up quickly. Oh my, this next one is unbelievable. Unbemeepable. This is a table with chairs and dishes and food atop. This is incredible. This is so cool. We've got melted candle, we've got some jewels, we've got potion, we've got a blank plate, so you could put your own stuff here. You could put like the HeroQuest rat or the skull here for some comedic effect. We've got a scroll and a goblet. The chairs are attached. Everything, again, is very well constructed. There's no risk of, if you knock this off the table for some reason, it falls on the floor, everything's going to be fine. You'll be able to pick it up, no problem, and not have any damage or breakage to the part. That said, don't go doing that on purpose like I just did. That was a bit foolish, but really, that is so cool. That commands such a cool presence on the board. And as you can see, it takes up the 2x3 section that a regular table would, so it's really quite perfect in terms of fit for the classic board. It'll only fit even better with the contemporary board. This next bag is full of the traps. Now, I looked at these traps in that Etsy review video, which LB Studios had taken notice of to begin with, and I'm so glad that I did. Now, we have just a variety of all of the traps. We have what could easily be the empty pit to represent the pit tile instead of just the tile, so you have a bit of an easier time seeing it, and that's really the major draw for me with these 3D prints. Easier to see things on the board, at least in terms of versus the tiles. 3-dimensionality is where it's at. We've got a switch that you can step on. You can put this down to represent sprung traps whenever the heroes have searched for treasure and arrows came out of the wall. It wouldn't add anything to the functionality of the map. It would just be a cool representation. The gas trap, and of course you would want to paint this, but we have lots of gas coming out of some nozzles sticking out of the floor. Really cool. You could paint this to be green or purple or some other toxic feeling color. A fireball just traveling out of the wall. You could actually use this for a lot of different things. You could paint a face on the front of it and have like a floating Medusa head, kind of like in Castlevania. You could have the trap sprung and the fireball in action on one turn, putting this on the board and giving the heroes a chance to react to it. You could have a fireball floating around the castle corridors as if on patrol magically. You have a lot of use cases for this fireball. Get back into focus, you scrub. Come on. There we go. Love it. Love the choice of stone floor on the sculpt as well. A bear trap, need I say more? We don't have any bear traps in the game system, anything that would kind of represent this, but you could definitely put them in your dungeon. You could definitely use all kinds of homebrew to represent them. Lovely sculpt, you can tell immediately what it is. Now I like this one a lot. Once again, you could use this after a trap has been sprung and arrows have already come out of the wall to kind of indicate that the trap has already been sprung, or you could place this in a room and build homebrew mechanics around that, and I think we'll do that in a short video later. This is a set of dials that can be used as gauges. You could have your heroes happen upon this and turn the flywheels or adjust other things in the dungeons, explore, kill monsters, find other switches, and come back to this to see how it's changed. It doesn't move on its own, of course, but as Zargon, it can move in the theater of your mind, and you can explain to the heroes what kind of changes have happened to this after they have affected it in certain ways, or they can use this to affect other parts of the dungeon. It's the wall again, and this time we've got like a lightning trap. This could really be interpreted as a lot of different things, and you could use this in a lot of different ways in your scenario. The tripwire. There's not much to say about this. If your hero trips over this, your other heroes have full license to point and laugh at them. What an obvious trap, rather. The goblins definitely set this one up. You're hilarious for falling for it. Of course, this could also be the trigger to a much deadlier trap that the heroes will soon find. This, to me, is an acid pool. You could use a number of other colors other than green, really to make it represent whatever you wish. You could fill this full of blood. To me, the acid pool is very dangerous, and this is a great representation of it. This is visceral. This is a wall spike trap that has been sprung, and it looks like an adventurer was very unlucky to have found it before you. And finally, the trap that everyone has been waiting for. I was very kindly advised that this is called an oubliette by several commenters, several viewers. I really like it. You could take an active approach with this trap and have a hero trapped in here, or you could have a monster. It could be a surprise. The heroes won't know until they open it. Time for box 3 now. Instead of a bookshelf, this time we have a cabinet. This is kind of a curio cabinet. We have all kinds of drawers here, some cabinets, one of which is locked. We've got a drawer partially opened. We've got shelf space on which are candles, potions. I really like it. I really, really like it. It also takes up 3 tiles on the board. Next up, we have thrones. Oh yes, I love a good throne. This throne could very easily be the Witch Lord's throne. We've got a giant skull inset in the headrest. Well, it depends on how tall the Witch Lord is, I guess. It doesn't have to be the headrest. It can be above. It could be always present. We have a couple of griffins, or imps, I suppose they could be, etched into the side. A giant skull in the back. That is a lovely touch. I really like that a lot. And we have a second version of this throne, a much softer first class at the airport version. Now the difference between these is that this one's going to fit pretty easily on a 1x1 just tile as the original throne would. This one's actually going to encroach on the tiles around it. I would put this in the center of a 2x2 tile configuration and just kind of center it. That's what I would do with this one. Let me just move some of my dunnage. There was a lot that came out of that next bag. A regular dungeon wall. I like it. It's got a little bit of lighting, although it doesn't have to. This is a secret door. This can be placed on the board instead of one of the tile secret doors, indicating that you found something that previously was not there, was not meant to be found. It will take up a little bit of space on your board, but it's obvious what it is. Some double wide wall sections, which I really appreciate because I like these. I just like the double walls a lot, and having this representation in 3 dimensions, well, it's just going to add some dimensionality to the board, which I appreciate. Stacks of rubble, fallen rock. These can be used whenever you have a cave-in, or they can just be placed as dungeon dressing, part of a trap. It's up to you. I've got one more bag here in this box that says Mystery Meeple, so we'll hang on to this and save it for last. Next box. Opened right up with the Alchemist's table of the Dungeon Scenics line. This is HeroQuest compatible, 25mm, another HD mini. Looks beautiful in the package. What will it look like out? Amazing. That's what it will look like out of the package. We've got a fully featured Alchemist table, all kinds of stuff going on here, lots of details, lots of pieces and, chemically at least, moving parts. This alchemist was busy. There are beakers, there are flasks, there are reference materials, there are tools, we've got a mortar and pestle, we've got an active flame. This is going to be a lot of fun to paint. And it really doesn't take up any more than 3 tiles, although the typical bench is supposed to take up 2 by 3 so that it sits comfortably in a 6-tile grid. Next, we've got a Sorcerer's table, 50mm on this one. And we have the light bulb symbol on the packaging to let you know that it is LED capable. This one indeed does have an LED piece in the center. We'll take a look at the sculpt first. This is the Sorcerer's table, and there are arcane magics going on as we speak. We've almost got a Tesla coil-like effect with all of the elements here, an arcane 6-pointed star rising magically in the center of the table, as well as other wizardy paraphernalia floating around in front of a book. No doubt this athame and book were used to utter an arcane invocation. And when those words were spoken, this LED appeared and lit up the horrific scene. Here it is again, this time in blue. Man, that really looks atrocious on camera. Or cool, it looks really cool, I mean. Either one, take your pick. Now in real life, looking at the blue light kind of hurts my eyes, but it does look really cool when it's kind of obscured. This blue just gives the Sorcerer's table a really mysterious look. What's this? This is an amazing, really tall staircase. You can use this in place of the default tile staircase if you really want your heroes to feel like they have delved into a deep dungeon. We've even got the door. This is really masterfully sculpted. A pair of candles here, and what's that peeking at us from around the side? It is an oversized rat. This is obviously going to be a Skaven anytime that I want it to be, which is going to be always. But it's got itself a little treasure hoard in the back here too. Just a stunning amount of detail to things that the heroes would not necessarily see themselves, but you can see them, and your players can see them, your hero players. It's stunning on the board, and it commands attention, and it doesn't really encroach beyond its 4 tiles. It's 2 by 2 tiles. We're going to check out our mystery Meeple now, which doesn't necessarily have to have anything to do with HeroQuest, and it seems to be a fist coming up out of the ground. Actually, there was more than one thing in that bag. Well, we have a bit of a ranger here, a bit of a contemporary hunter man. He's got his gun, he's got his backpack, and he's got his hat. Well, now I've got one of those hats, and also we've got a lovely purple marbled D12. Thank you so much to LB Studios, again, for the very lovely and kind gifts. And it looks like I've got a QR code to scan that might do something cool. I don't know. We'll find out. Hey guys, are you ready for some glamour shots? Really awesome stuff. I'm going to attempt to pack this all away in one of my Hot Wheels containers that I've loved so much while putting all of my HeroQuest stuff away. Just another huge shout out to LB Studios and a major thank you to the MeepleLibrary.com, lbstudios.shop, at the MeepleLibrary on all social medias, Andy at MeepleForge.com, and Andy recently launched a MyMiniFactory tribe, and I'll put a link to that in the description below as well. As always, thank you all so much for watching. Comment anything you like down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, onward, brave heroes.